Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey, and this is Our View from the Bench.
Welcome back, Benchwarmers. We started our MLB Division Winner Prediction Series by giving out our picks for the West and Central Divisions.
Now we wrap up the series by ending here with the AL and NL East divisions. I'm Corey, left field foul ball boy.
And I'm Brendan, Clubhouse Spittoon Cleaner. And this is Our View from the Bench. Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of our new episodes.
And if you could do us a favor, please, if you like what you see here, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it for us. It's free, and it helps us out probably a lot more than you think.
All right, so now that we've done the AL East, we're going to wrap up by finishing our MLB division predictions with the NL East. East side.
East side. That's right. All right. So, if you haven't checked out any of the previous episodes, make sure you go check them out. We cover everything. This is the very last one, the NL East. For those of you who haven't watched, what we do basically is take the order of the standings that they were previously, and in reverse order, we go through each team, kind of give some little synopsis about what we think about the team, and then we place them where we think they're going to come in at the end of the season, what place we think they're going to come in. So, moving to the NL East, let's start with the Washington Nationals.
All right.
The Nationals they've recently won a World Series, and that's all I know about the Nationals. Back to you, Corey. No,
I was saying with recent, you mean 6 years, 5 years ago already?
Was it really that freaking long ago? I just remember them beating the Dodgers in the championship series. So that's so fresh in my mind. Anytime the Dodgers lose, it just tries to stay fresh in my mind.
Yeah, and it was 2019 already. It's crazy to think.
Sad. Pre-COVID. That was the last pre-COVID World Series, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so they won it a handful of years ago, apparently, and honestly, they've been really tearing this team apart since, from letting Juan Soto go to Anthony Rendon, which the Angels were super lucky to get Anthony Rendon. He's one of the best players they've acquired in a long time. But the Nats are obviously in a completely major overhaul. They're still paying, what's the pitcher? What's his freaking name?
Scherzer.
Strasburg.
Oh,
no. Oh, yeah, well, Scherzer too, but Strasburg, who's not playing. They're still paying people who aren't even on their team anymore. So I think it's going to be a super close race to last place. It's going to be them and the Marlins kind of duking it out for who is going to be last in the NL East, which kind of maybe spoils what I said for the Marlins, but Nationals come in fifth. What do you see with the Nats, man?
Yeah, hard to argue there with you, sir. They are just, like you said, since they won that title, they've completely torn this team down. Zimmerman retired. Strasburg retired because of medical issues. They trade Scherzer and Turner to the Dodgers. They trade Soto to the Padres. They let Rendon, which honestly for them probably kind of worked out because he hasn't played very much. He's getting
doesn't even like baseball.
I think I heard a stat today that so far Rendon as the leadoff hitter for the Angels is 0 for 19 with 1
over
walk.
19. Yep.
Yeah, not good for that. Well, I guess when you don't like baseball that much, it's hard to hit the ball. But anyways, that's another topic that we can go over another day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm with you. This team is just young, a bunch of kids. Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore are nice young pieces to have at the top of the rotation, but very, very inexperienced. They still have Patrick Corbin, but he has not been the same since they won the series in 19, like at all, to be honest.
Yeah. No.
Offensively, there's not a whole lot to write about. Joey Gallo's there, and that's cool, but he can hit you 20 home runs, but his batting average last year in Minnesota, even with having 20 home runs, was 177. So
maybe once every 8 games, you'll get a solo shot.
You'll get a pop here somewhere. But other than that, it's kind of like if the Red Sox with Devers, if there's nobody on base and he's hitting solo shots, then it doesn't really matter. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
They did bring in Eddie Rosario to play outfield, who was on the Braves when they won the series in 21. He had a great playoff run for them. But other than that, Rosario's just been an average ball player.
Yeah, he was like the spark plug, the X factor that really got them through. That I'm with you on that, but beyond that, he's not like this known commodity. To your point,
no,
yeah,
not at all. So yeah, I'm with you. There's not a whole lot to be excited about if you're the Nationals. You put all your chips on the table. You got the World Series ring. It was worth it. Now it's kind of like the Rams. Like, F them picks. You put it all on there. You got the title, and now you're paying the ramifications because eventually the bill comes due.
Yep.
And now you're back to rebuilding and starting over with a bunch of young guys, and maybe they'll be good in the next 3 to 4 years. I don't know. It could be long.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'd rather follow the Rams blueprint. I know it's not their only theirs, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'd rather follow that blueprint than the Cowboys blueprint, where every year we're almost right there. If we could, yeah, no. Last shot at Anthony Rendon before we move on. Saw a stat the other day. That Adolis Garcia has hit 29 home runs since he got a hit last.
Wow.
Yeah, so Anthony Rendon has been hitless over Adolis Garcia's 29 home run streak. So, fantastic work. Great job. Good job, Angels.
Way
That was
to
a
go,
nice
Artie.
pick.
God, worst owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, second worst maybe, but
Yeah, right. Include the freaking racist over in LA that was there. That guy kind of sucked too. Well, that A's owner
yeah, in
kind of sucks
sports,
too.
yeah, but I was talking baseball.
Oh, baseball specifically. Yeah, the
Second
A's.
worst probably compared to Fisher up in Oakland or
Yeah.
Sacramento or Vegas or wherever the hell we're calling them.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. They're not calling them anything. You're calling them the A's. That's all we're calling them is just the A's. They don't have a city. Okay, we might have an episode on that coming up, so make sure you check that out because we've got a lot to say about that. But for now, we move on with the NL East. Last year, the Mets were just a tad better than the Nationals were, coming in fourth place. Do you see them gaining? I mean, they've got the highest payroll in all of baseball, maybe behind the Dodgers, even though 90% of their shit's deferred.
Yeah.
Where do you have them? Where do you have the Mets showing up, bro?
Actually, I think the Mets are going to be better. Last year they spent all that money on Verlander and Scherzer, which was cool in the moment when people were like, "Oh, they're going out to get pitching," but they're both like 38 and 39 and had their best days behind them. And Scherzer, even when he went to Texas in the trade at the deadline, he didn't do much for them last year.
No, he's more of a name in the rotation than anything.
Yeah. But you look at their rotation this year: Jose Quintana, Luis Severino. They had a great rookie year from Japanese pitcher Kodai Senge last year, and most pitchers coming over from the other league don't usually do that well their first year. It usually takes them a year or two or to kind of figure out the game and the new ball and the 5-day rotation because usually Japanese league they go 6-man. But he had a great year, so I think if those three guys can be healthy and pitch, the lineup's not that bad, really. I mean, Pete Alonso is a beast. Let's just start there. Like, he's amazing. And since 2019, he's averaging 44 home runs and almost 100 RBIs a year. So if they can get guys
and winning freaking home run derbies.
That's a good point. He did win a couple of those as well. You are right. Lindor has not been the same since he got traded to the Mets and signed that extension. I think I don't know, maybe there's less pressure on them to win because there's no expectations compared to the years past. So maybe that'll kind of help them in a weird way.
Yeah.
Jeff McNeil's good in the at second base. Brandon Nimmo in the outfield. Starling Marte, who's a solid guy, can steal probably 25, 30 bases and has some nice speed on the base path for them with the new rules and the way the stealing has now become a thing the last year with everything. I think that's a huge bonus. They traded for Harrison Bader. He's a decent center fielder. He was from the Cardinals. Brought in JD Martinez last. I know he hasn't come in yet because he signed so late.
Because he signed yesterday, damn near. Yeah.
So he's down in the minors doing a rehab assignment first. But again, you look at that lineup offensively, like, okay, like they can hang if they can, they can hit and get some runs. And if their pitching's not completely terrible, then okay, maybe I can see him making a run and getting not necessarily maybe a wild card, but it'd be hard. The NL is not going to be easy.
NL's pretty stacked,
this year. Yeah. It does help. Also, you're getting your closer back, Edwin Diaz, who missed all of last year because of his injury from the World Baseball Classic when he was jumping to celebrate and his knee just exploded. So that'll be nice if he can go back to form. You have somebody at the back end of the bullpen. They still have Adam Ottavino in the bullpen as well. So they got some good pieces. I see them improving and not being in fourth, but third place is not the best either because, I don't know if they're going to have enough to get a wild card spot. But at least improvement and hopefully not letting Pete Alonso go in the offseason because he's going to be a free agent. May have something to build on. But I don't know if there's going to be a lot to write home about this year necessarily either.
Yeah, Mets spent lots of money and not so much output is kind of the easiest, quick way to kind of put it. It's unfortunate for the Mets and Mets fans, but it is what it is. Because you feel like, wow, they're spending as much money as the Yankees, but the Yankees have players that are good. So there's that, which sucks because I'm a freaking Yankee hater, but they're like the Clippers of New York. You know what I mean? So
true, very true.
They're going to have some wins. They're going to win games because they're going to be a near 500 team, in my opinion. Because, like you said, dude, they're not bad, but being in this NL East with the two teams that are, most likely going to be at the top is going to be rough. With Lindor, Alonso, and Starling Marte, some known commodities in the lineup. Jose Quintana and Luis Severino, like you mentioned, to me is actually a pretty good 1-2 punch. It
Right?
just really falls off after that.
Yeah.
The team's going to be average. 85 wins. They're going to be good-ish. The top two though really should separate themselves mid-season, and I don't think they're going to look back. Mets come in third.
Okay, so we both have them finishing in the middle, basically, of the division. I mean, again, it makes sense they're improving, but just
It's
not
hard
a
to,
whole
dude. The
lot.
teams that are in your way are tough, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, big time.
So we'll move on to some of those teams. This one, I don't think either of us think they're in the way, but they were last year.
True.
Last year, the Marlins came in third place. Miami. They, granted, we're doing this a week into the season, and it's not looking great right now for them.
No.
I believe they are still winless to today, which is the
0-9.
4th of April. But yeah. So do they win any games this year, Corey? Please tell us. No.
Well,
162 or
no, I don't. I mean, God, that would be absolutely terrible if a team actually went 162. I'd feel bad for them. No, I don't see them doing that, but I don't see them being very good either. You mentioned third last year, sneaking in as a wild card, but I see them just dropping down this year. Last year Sandy Alcantara, their ace, was in the Cy Young Award talk all year, and then he got hurt. Now he's on the IL to start the year for 60 days, and who knows? Again, kind of like Garrett Cole. Will it be 60 days? Will it be more? I don't know if it gets worse. And the rest of the rotation only gets worse from there. It's a bunch of guys I've never heard of, but this is kind of what the Marlins do. They're kind of like the A's of the NL. They don't spend a lot of money. They just have a nicer stadium. But other than that, there's not a whole lot really there. And if you look at the pitching, I just don't see how they're going to keep anybody from scoring against them.
Yeah, I went to and I'm with you on most everything you said. I went to the Baseball America website to kind of get an idea because the Marlins are kind of like we mentioned with the Rays, one of those teams where it's not that they don't want to keep people, they just don't want to pay people, and people don't
Yeah.
want to stay to get if they're not getting paid. So this just they'd like to keep them, but for the same contract as they were on as a rookie, it seems. So I had to go look up some of these pitchers, and some of the grades that they actually got on their starters were decent, right? But in my opinion, the way to put this team is it's a young team with some fun guys. They're kind of in the midst of like a mini rebuild. I feel like I don't think they're completely overhauling their team. They have some everyday starters like Luis Arias, who hit damn near the best. I think he was the batting average champ last year, right?
Yes, he was. Silver Slugger Award as well for the second
Yeah.
time.
So Jazz Chisholm, he was on the cover of the show. Jake Berger in the middle of the lineup, but beyond like those kind of three positions, they're still really needing to kind of round everything out.
Yeah.
Unless it's kind of like that Rays situation where, they're keeping those guys hidden that we haven't heard of, and they're going to pop. But the rotation is actually probably, in my opinion, their best asset, although it's not great, which is why I still have them coming in fourth. But it's kind of the best they got. Jesus Luzardo and Yuri Perez, I think, are a decent one too. I'd put them. They're definitely like both solid twos on every team. And having two twos is okay. But AJ Puke or Puck and Edward Cabrera are a little average or just below it. So they're young, and I think they'll soon be competing because that's what they do. They kind of get a couple people to get them doing well, but I don't see it this year. Marlins are fourth.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jake Berger's nice, Luis Arias, which there's even rumor now that the Padres are trying to trade for Arias, so who knows if he'll be there the whole year. But also they brought in Josh Bell last year with the trade from the Padres too, so like Bell's a nice pop. Him and Berger, I think, honestly could be a nice 3-4 in the lineup and give you some opportunity to get some home runs.
Especially if the Arias and Chisholm are on base, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And if those both guys can hit 20 to 25 home runs, that's, gives you some absolute firepower on the offensive side. And you mentioned Chisholm Jr. He's kind of like their Ellie De La Cruz. He's electric. He's great, but can't do it all by himself.
Right.
And it's weird. They also brought in, which I think this is kind of being overlooked just because he had such a bad year last year in Chicago, but they did bring in Tim Anderson to play short. And if Anderson can get anything back to what he used to be a couple years, I mean, in 2021, he was an all-star. Also in 22, he won a Silver Slugger. In 2020, I mean, although that was the shortened season of 60 games, but still, like, there was a good 2 or 3 year period where Tim Anderson was the man and legit, and everyone thought, oh, Chicago finally has the piece to build around. And then he just kind of tapered off the last year or so, and it's just maybe a new place, new start, gives you some fresh energy, and you kind of rebuild yourself. But it's just a lot of expectations for a team that, and I feel bad too because Skip Schumacher's their coach. I love Skip
I
Schumacher.
like
He's a
Skip.
great player. One of those guys, kind of like, does a little
Like
bit
a
of
Craig
everything.
Counsell.
But yeah, that's a perfect description.
Sorry if
Same
I took
thing.
that from you.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking, but I couldn't think of the name for some reason. Just one of those guys who does a little bit of everything, played a lot of positions, knows the game well. I mean, he got him there as a rookie head coach last year into the playoffs as a wild
Yeah.
card, so he knows what he's doing. But I just don't think they're going to have quite enough to get there again this year. And I'm with you; they're finishing in fourth.
You know what it was, bro? I can actually almost pinpoint it exactly. See, what happened was Tim Anderson stood over this guy who hit a double, right? And then this guy, his name's Jose Ramirez, he stood up and just knocked the motherfucker out. That's what happened to Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson has not been the same since he got knocked the fuck out. That's why you don't
true.
step the people. He didn't do shit. He was just trying to slide in the second. Get off him. Shit. Anyways, okay.
Hey, you might be right about that.
I'm just saying that was about the time frame that you said about a year and a half ago. Yeah, what happened a year and a half ago? He got knocked out in the middle of the field. That's what happened.
Yeah, you're right. That did kind of change his trajectory.
Yeah. Okay, now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of this division. This is really where the fight is going to be, in my opinion. The other teams are nice to talk about, but really, this is the bee's knees here. Okay. Phillies, Braves. Those were the 2-1 last year, 1-2 respectively. So in order, we're going to stick with it. Phillies. Do you see the Phillies maintaining and still being the Braves' little brother, or are they going to finally take a step up this year?
I do have them finishing second in the same spot. Now they'll definitely get a wild card spot. Wheeler and Nola at the top of the rotation is great. Taijuan Walker as a 3 guy is awesome. He's always been a solid guy when he's healthy. Matt Strahm, Jose Alvarado in the bullpen, very nice to have. I think Rob Thompson, since he's taken over as manager and they fired Girardi 2.5 years ago, he's been the right guy and kind of a mad scientist with this team. Although last year they fell short of the World Series like they thought they were going to for the second.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm with you. But the fact that 2 years in a row they kind of start off slow, they figure it out in the middle, and then the back after the All-Star break they kind of get it all going,
fire,
make a run to the playoffs, and then 2 NLCS in a row. That's not a joke. That's not easy to do. So a lot of the same guys. Even last year they did it without Rhys Hoskins, who he was out all year. We talked about when we did the NL Central stuff with the Brewers. They still were able to do just as well last year and make a nice run into the playoffs. So I think that, they did. I think they beat the Braves in the playoffs last year too, right? In the NLDS.
Yes. Yep. That's who knocked out the Braves. Yep.
Yeah. So it's not that the Braves won't beat them in the playoffs or not. That's a different discussion. But as far as like the long-term regular season thing, I just don't know if they're going to have enough. Their lineup is, again, one of those just 1 through
it's
8
deep.
or 9. Realmuto behind the plate, Harper at first, Alec Braum at third, Trey Turner at short, and they even brought in Whit Merrifield, who's not going to be necessarily an everyday starter, probably platoon at second, maybe play some short, but a guy who can do a little bit of everything, plays smart defense, which will fit this team well. Brandon Marsh, Nick Castellanos, Christian Pache is also very good in the outfit. They have a lot of pieces that fit well together. And I didn't even mention Kyle Schwarber, who I know his average is, usually hovers around 200, but
we played them in the freaking NLCS, bro. He is scary. Yes.
If he is hot at the right time in September and October, which he's known to do, he's going to hit you a bunch of home runs and keep you in games or give you an opportunity to win some and even get an early lead as the leadoff guy. 46 home runs last year as a leadoff batter. That's not something to overlook or just, it was a one-time thing. No, he kind of does this every year. He hits a bunch
and you kind of have to pitch to him, bro. You can't just start every game with a runner on first, especially with this damn lineup.
Yeah. Now, he is not the fastest guy in the world. I get that.
That doesn't matter.
If it's the back end of the lineup 8 to 9 to 1, then maybe you can kind of work around him. But yeah, like you said, at the start of the game, at first bat, you can't, we'll just walk him because we don't. Then you're acting.
No, you got Bryce Harper coming up soon.
Harper, and it's just like there's too many other weapons there. And Castellanos, if he's hot as well. So the offense is not the problem. The pitching is not a problem. So it's just a matter of, are they motivated enough to be ready from the get go and not wait to start really playing baseball until July or August?
Okay, so tell me if you agree with this statement. The only reason this team is in second is because they play in a division with the Atlanta Braves.
Fact. That's
Okay.
exactly it.
Yeah, this team is loaded, bro. I literally wrote down names just because I couldn't stop. They're really kind of set not only for like a deep playoff run, which is what they've been in, as you mentioned, 2 NLCS appearances in the past 2 years, what they've been in recently, but they're really looking for this World Series ring. And they have all the pieces to do it, from Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Real Muto, Castellanos, Marsh, Bohm, Stott, young guys with Bohm and Stott not rank coming supporting those plethora of all-star veterans that they've got as well. It's the whole lineup, dude, is really good. I couldn't not put somebody down because they were just stacked. They're great.
Yeah.
And then you have Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Ranger Suarez as a 1-2-3. I mean, they're competing with some of the best rotations, and health aside, I think that the Diamondbacks have one of the best rotations in the National League, to be honest with you. And this is one of the ones that would scare me. Now, again, we've got Gallen, luckily Jordan Montgomery, and Merrill Kelly, but Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez, they're no joke either. So it's going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out. And like I said, the only reason why they're in second is because the Braves are in first. That's pretty much it. I know, spoiler alert for everybody not paying attention, but this team is really good. And if they weren't in with the Atlanta, they would be in first. I would have no qualms about making them first place, but
yeah,
that's not where they're standing
more.
Here. Well, since I've kind of already ruined everything, let's move on to the Braves. I know I've already kind of stated where I have, and if you've been paying attention, you can kind of see where we both have it. But Corey, please tell us about the Braves this year, man.
They just are so good. I mean, 6 straight division titles, 2 years in a row of 100 wins. They have everything. If the pitching stays healthy, then they will be the best team in the NL, although maybe with the Dodgers back and forth as the top record like they did the last couple times. But yeah, I mean, you just look at the pitching alone, and now Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Charlie Morton at the top, fantastic. Bullpen, AJ Minter, Tyler Matzek, Angel Perdomo, and Rafael Garcia closing in the 9th, lights out, all good. Now they did bring in Chris Sale from Boston. Now, I know Sale hasn't been the same the last few years due to injuries and everything.
Yeah, but if he could be 80% of what he was, bro.
Exactly, and as a 4 or 5 guy in the rotation,
then Chris Sale was nasty. He was one of the best pitchers in the league at his peak.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not the best.
And come October, if you go down to a 3-man rotation for playoffs, Sale could be your long reliever for a stretch here, or a bullpen game, or whatever you want to use him for. So that just gives him more opportunity. And I know this is a kind of a random one to throw him there, but Jesse Chavez in the bullpen too. It seems like when he's in Atlanta, that's like the best he pitches, and then he trades and goes somewhere else, and he's not as good. And then he comes back to Atlanta, and he's good again, and then he leaves, and he's not good, and now he's back. So maybe it's just something in the water in Atlanta that
apparently
makes Jesse Chavez much better as a pitcher. I don't know, but
he loved the ATL vibes.
Yeah, whatever works for him. They're just the pitching rotation alone. And bullpen is solid, and I haven't even talked anything about the lineup yet.
This division is the Braves to lose, right? I mean, it's kind of like the same argument, I guess you would say, in the NL West with the Dodgers. It's not really a matter of if the Dodgers are going to win the division, because it's like, hey, game 1, all right, yeah, give them the crown, it's fine. It's really by how much. To me, it kind of the same goes to Atlanta for here. And that's not even really a knock on the Phillies, nor is it a knock on my Diamondbacks or the Giants or the Padres. It's just that's how good those two teams are, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'll start this lineup parade that we'll talk about: Acuna, Albies, Riley, Olson, Ozuna. And then the 4-man rotation, I'm going to say that Chris Sale is 75 to 80% of what he was. Strider, Fried, Morton, and Sale. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? All of those players, if Sale is good, is like a 1 or a 2 on any team in the entire league, and they are 3 and 4 respectively. So, yeah, this team has no holes. The only thing that can happen is injuries and bad luck. That's literally it. If they don't finish with the best record in the National League, it's the Dodgers, and they're right behind them. So Braves in first, easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the lineup. I mean, Sean Murphy, Travis d'Arnaud are going to platoon catcher, which is awesome. And
I like d'Arnaud.
d'Arnaud only has to play like 50 or so games, and he's going to make a huge impact. He could be a pinch hitter if you need him to at times.
You just need him to be ready for playoffs.
Yeah, of course. And then even Jared Kelenic in the outfield, Michael Harris second, Adam Duvall is there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they have so many options and pieces there that it's one of those lineups where I don't know who you can pitch around. You're going to have to basically pitch to everybody. Otherwise, somebody's going to make you pay for putting somebody on in front of them. Yep. And if Acuna has even 90% of what the season was last year, then he's going to be in the MVP conversation again,
Hmm.
and the Braves are going to be right at the top of competing with the Dodgers for the best record in the NL.
Yeah. Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, there's not much more that can be said about the Braves. They are what they are. The only thing that I will say is when they were hot in the '90s, they only got one World Series,
True.
and they're hot right now, and they've already got one. Is it just going to be another repeat of,
I
man? You
mean,
know that team really should have won more. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, it totally could. I mean, the Braves, like you said, they had a huge run in the '90s in the NLCS a lot. Went to 2 World Series, only won one of them, losing the other one to the Yankees.
I mean, they have some of the most like stacked pitch. You talk about the pitchers, Glavin and Smoltz. I mean, they have some of the best pitchers like ever
Yeah, yeah,
on that
Maddox
team,
and
and
those
just
two back
one.
then. Oof.
Yeah, Maddox. That's what I was talking about. Sorry.
Yeah, no, they
Um,
had it right, man. I don't
so
know.
I'm curious
That's
to see if that's if they're gonna keep that same idea, or maybe they can try to turn this into at least two. Because two would be like, okay, cool. That then you know what, this was good. Two is good.
even a second World Series appearance. I
Hmm.
think
Yeah.
would be better than not if they only get the one appearance and one win. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it all comes down to home field too. If them and the Dodgers are battling for that number one seed, if whoever has home field could ultimately end up winning the NL and representing them in the World Series.
Yep. Yep. Well, let's hope it's the Diamondbacks again. Screw them
Oh
both.
yeah, no,
All
I agree with you on that.
right. Well, there that kind of shows you where we are at there with the NL East standings. Before we wrap this one up, like we're going to do, like we've done on the previous episodes, we're each going to give a headline that we see kind of happening at the end of the season, whether that be for an individual person, a player, the team, or the entire division. So, Corey, hit me with your NL East headline for the end of 2024.
Now, this won't make sense based on the standings that I did because the Mets would be finishing in third behind the Phillies. But my headline is Mets are so improved that they win 90 games and get the top wild card spot in the National League.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, at least we could curb it and say you at least they're going to think a wild card spot, if
Yeah.
anything. 90 games and a wild card spot. Okay. All right. I like that. Okay. My headline will be I'm going to stick with those freaking front runners. Spencer Strider wins National League Cy Young Award. That's what I'm going with. Dude was already lights out last year, strikes out damn near everybody that walks up to the plate. So, with another 100-win season for the Braves, most likely on deck, he's going to be up in the 20s, most likely. Bunch of strikeouts. Unless somebody just has an insane year, Spencer Strider wins National League Cy Young.
I mean, it's not a bad headline and totally possible. Like we said, the Braves' rotation and lineup is solid all the way around. So if Strider is healthy and can do his thing, he definitely will be in the talks of the NL Cy Young race. And hopefully not Yamamoto as a rookie for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
He's just in rookie
Yeah,
of the
go
year
Braves.
conversations, but not Cy Young Award conversations.
Yeah, agreed. Agree. Cool. Well, we have now selected our NL East champs to kind of finish off all 6 of the divisions in baseball. If you missed any of our previous episodes, make sure you go back, check them out. We break it down for each one. So if you have a specific division you'd rather watch than others, go watch that one. But we just prefer you watch them all. That way you kind of get all the knowledge we're trying to drop on you. You know what I mean? We also talk about the headlines, similar to the ones that we covered here. A bunch of headlines for all those previous divisions. So drop a comment down below. Let us know where you see the NL East finishing. That way we can kind of take note and check back at the end of the season to kind of see who was right. Thank you, though, for joining us. And as always, seeing things from RB from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.